666.
The King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center, KS Relief, announced Sunday that Saudi Arabia will provide $10 million to contribute to addressing the existing threats arising from the oil tanker Safar, which is anchored off the Red Sea coast north of the Yemeni port city of Al Hodeidah. The Safar tanker contains more than 1 million barrels of oil and has not been maintained since 2015, and any leakage would threaten regional marine life, fisheries, and biodiversity. If this thing blows, Richard, this would be catastrophic, and damage from it may run into the hundreds of billions of dollars, I think one estimate put, or
20 billion.
20 billion, sorry, so I was a little high, but
yeah.
Yeah, and my daughter is also upset about it, if anybody can hear in the background. Sorry about that.
Coco knows what she's talking.
Are you talking about the tanker, Daddy?
She can speak already.
That's all she can say, just that one sentence.
Yeah, so this is the FSO Safar, but Safer, carrying a 1.1 million barrels of oil. Is moored 6 miles off the coast of Hodeidah, and it's 45 years old. It was put in place it's moored off the coast in 88, and it's connected to a pipeline from Marib, which is their oil producing region. And it once was a hub for storage and export of crude oil, but since 2015, the onset of the war in Yemen, the Houthis have not blockaded any efforts to inspect it or maintain it. So it's declining, it's decrepit, it's being manned by, I guess, less than 10 Yemenis trying to keep it from just falling apart. And as we said, 20 billion, and it holds four times more oil than the Exxon Valdez. So it would be catastrophic, as you said. And what's interesting is, so Saudi Arabia there was a pledge drive last month that raised 33 million. They need 80 million in order to get it started. 33 million was raised. Saudis just added 10. U.S. has added 10. They're about 20 million short to get to that 80 million. And the U.S. the UN has started a crowdfunding operation. Actually, they're trying to close that
Kickstarter.
For a tanker off the Yemeni coast. Yeah, probably, as valid a Kickstarter as there's been out there, because the consequences would be disastrous. And certainly when you talk about $80 million in lieu of 20 billion cleanup and a devastation of all sorts of industries and livelihoods. So hopefully this happens and it can get remediated. So
my question is, and this is going to be the stupid question of the hour, maybe of the whole episode, probably of the whole episode. I got on a limb and say that. So it's the tanker has what, 1 million barrels of oil in it?
1.1 million. Yeah.
Okay. And so if it's $100 a barrel, couldn't you take the oil out and sell it? I'm sure the oil, I don't know, has it gone bad? Is it, does it, I don't know, but
good question.
It seems like maybe, that could be something. I don't know.
Presumably it can be put to market. Maybe that should be, maybe that's, when you do a Kickstarter, don't you get something of value? So if you put in, I'm going to give $100. I want a barrel of oil.
Yep. You get a little souvenir jar in remembrance of your generosity of that oil.
I want something I can turn a profit on.
What would happen with the oil when they took it out? Would they then get it? I guess they'd probably get it to market if it's still good. But
it's Yemeni property, so presumably they would take it. But again, what's the recognized government of Yemen is no longer on seat. So there you go. There's another international question for you. Whose property is it? Mm-hmm. And do the Houthis have a right to it? And if there are revenues from it, are they put into escrow for whenever a duly elected and legitimate government is put in place in Yemen? So why did you go off down that wormhole?
Okay. It'll be a great weekend. I'll do that.
Exactly.
I think it's also interesting. I mean, to me, just like looking back at this, and we've been following this a little bit, Richard, the $80 million for the whole international community to come up with. I know $80 million is a lot of money to you or me, but that's not that much money to avoid a potentially expensive catastrophe. And it's not just the cost of the catastrophe, it's the environmental impact, which would just be such bad PR for everyone involved. And so I just, it seems like they should, I'm rooting for them to get this thing dealt with, because it would really suck if they just, let it go down, didn't raise the minimal amount of money to get it taken care of, and then it just starts leaking oil everywhere.
I get the impression it's headed in the right direction. People are motivated.
Mashallah.
Mashallah.